Guys, how you guys doing today? Good. If you guys can, I put this in front of people. If you have one in front of you, everyone just say "I" if you have one.
Yep, I got
Sure?
somewhere.
Everyone say "I."
Yeah.
Aye, okay. So first and foremost, my name is David Camara, and today I'll be talking to you about TOG Consulting. Okay, TOG Consulting stands for Touch of Greatness Consulting. Okay. First and foremost, what I want to do is start out with a sales impact. Okay, if you open it up, if you open up your book, I have a little sales impact section where you're going to be able to write some notes. If you get to that section, say "I."
I got it right here.
Ah, great. Okay, so what are we talking about today? So the first thing is that most people in here, it's safe to say you're somehow involved in sales. Is that true?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. And so one of the things about sales is like recognizing how can we display it? How do we break it down? And for so many years, I've worked with thousands and thousands of people all over the world, teaching them about this thing called sales. And one of the easiest things that I always used to break down was literally something as simple as, what's just the definition of a sale? We can go into myriad of things, talking about transactional and how do we do these things, but the simplest way we break down sales and how I've always taught people was, a sale is simply a transfer of enthusiasm from one person to the next. That's simple, right? Think about that. Just a transition of enthusiasm from one person to the next. All we have to do is that you have to possess it first, and I have to get some of that into that next person, and that's how we're gonna actually get a sale. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yo, I want you guys to take notes. I didn't print this out, spend money, just so that you guys can throw this out. So that's exactly why I put it in front of you. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are going to work with me. This is how I work. Guess why? Because if you have people involved, then people are actually going to be listening, right? Obviously. So when we're moving on, right? To get a sale, we have, there's actually a process to a sale. Sales is not something that just you walk up to somebody and hopefully something is going to work, right? And so there's usually some type of a sales process, right? Everyone say process.
Yep.
Say process?
I got it.
Process. Cool. And so what we're doing is this, recognize. So usually most people have some type of, maybe some type of an intro, right? A presentation, a short story, right? And a close, right? In some systems, you maybe have a rehash and other things as well, right? But what we want to know is that there's going to be a process. While you're going through this process, we want people to recognize that for you to achieve a sale, we have to take somebody from point A, the intro, we're going to get them to the close, right? But to do that, we have to take them through a journey. I always say we have to take them to the promised land, right? And the promised land is getting them actually to the sale. And so to do that, while you're talking to somebody, there's a diagram I used to do when I'm teaching people. It's like, as you start the intro, your interest level, right? And there's something called, we believe it's called as a buying line. Everyone say a buying line.
Buying line.
If there's a buying line, that means that there's a point at which somebody says, okay, I want that. And what we have to recognize that as we're talking to somebody, their interest level is peaking and going up and down, and up and down, and up and down. And our job is to get them to the level where they hit this buying line. And to achieve this buying line, what we have to do is make sure that we have impulses. Everyone say impulses.
Impulse.
Okay? An impulse, okay? An impulse is something that comes from one person, is delivering to the other person, right? But it's to get you to do something unconsciously, projecting you to do something, to be a catalyst for you to do something else. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So our job is to create an impulse, all right? And one of the breakdowns I do is that for my system here is we call it FIGHT. The acronym is FIGHT. The first F is going to be fear of loss. Everyone say fear of loss.
Fear of loss.
Okay. Fear of loss. Okay. Fear of loss is one of the greatest and strongest impacts, right? Impulses that people use. Okay. The interesting thing about fear of loss, guys, is that fear of loss is always greater. It's greater than someone's need for gain. Right? Give you an example. Everyone knows about Black Friday, right?
Yep.
We all have TVs. We all have everything that's going on Black Friday. Why do you actually want to go out? Not because you need to get more, but you're scared of missing out on a deal. You're like, you know what? If I could have got the $500 less, that's why I want to do it. The reality is recognizing, are we including fear of loss in our impulses, right? So the difference between somebody who's good at sales and somebody who's great at sales is how many impulses do I use while I'm talking to you through this sales process. So the difference is that people lack impulses as they're actually talking to someone or taking them through the sale. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so the next thing we're going to be going on to is I. Okay, I stands for indifference. Okay, indifference. Okay, indifference, I would say, is probably one of the most underutilized impulses. Okay, indifference talks about what you're putting off to the person. Guys, everyone knows that, guess what? In the end of the day, no one wants somebody who's desperate. And guess what? Every customer can smell the desperateness. Guys, as we're getting to the end, you're like, okay, I need to get this sale. I really know you need life insurance. I know you do, right? I know you need to get this thing. They can smell it, right? So one of the greatest impulses in indifference is your ability to act like, guess what? I don't care. You can get it or you don't have to, right? It's acting like I don't need the sale. I want it, but I definitely don't need it. And that confidence level that you're giving off while you're doing that. The next one is going to be G, okay? G stands for greed, okay? Which is the alternate of fear of loss, right? Which is the need to gain more, right? People usually think of greed as in maybe I want more money, things like that, but also saving money is a form of greed, right? We naturally as people want to hoard what's ours and hoard as much as we can. So any way you can put that into your pitch or what you're talking about, how you're going to save the money, how you're going to get them more things. These are things that naturally are going to impulse them, get you closer to the sale. H stands for hone your tone. What do I mean by that? Okay, guys, when you're dealing with your tonality and your tone, those are different things like volume, speed, emphasis, right? I'll do a quick thing with you real fast. But one of the greatest things in sales is you have to be a great listener, not just a good one, okay? And so when you always make sure you understand, like the better you listen to your customers, most of the time they're actually going to tell you how to close them, okay? I did not steal your keys. Okay, a cool activity I go over people with understanding tone and how it works is that we're all gonna read this together. We're gonna take some read it together, but I'm gonna underline the word and we're gonna put the emphasis on the word. And what we're gonna learn from this is that the understanding that literally the same sentence will change meaning just by how much you put emphasis on it. Okay? So we're all gonna read this together. Let's go.
I did not steal your keys.
Sorry, keys. Good, you guys all read that correctly. Some of you said key, which is correct, okay? I did not steal your keys. Okay, so the next one is going to be, we're going to put the emphasis on I,
right.
Okay?
I did not steal your keys.
Sorry.
My ninja likes
Yes,
speed.
I did not steal your keys, right? And what does that mean? You're making sure that I tell you I did not steal your keys, right? Let's put the emphasis on that.
I did not steal your keys.
Okay. Right? Yep. All of a sudden I'm changing. My whole job in that information is to tell you I did not do that, right? Okay. What is this? Let's put the emphasis on steal.
I did not steal your keys.
What does that mean?
I had somebody else to steal.
Right? I mean, he did it, right? Right?
I did not steal your keys.
What does that mean?
You stole somebody else's.
I stole somebody else's. I know I have a bunch of keys. And you're missing yours, but it's not mine, right? And the last one is, let's do keys. Ready, go.
Yeah. I did not steal your keys.
Right? I didn't. I stole your wallet. I stole everything. Right? And so what we're doing is recognizing what? Is that teaching people understanding tone, honing your tone is your ability to change the meaning of what you're actually saying. And last but not least, T. That's for the Jones effect. Okay? The Jones effect. Okay? Or another term we use in sales, we call it sheep factor. Okay? People are naturally group mentality, right? One of the easiest things to do whenever you're talking about anything that you want to sell is to say, guess what? I was talking to a lot of people and this is what happened, right? Sorry, what profession are you in?
IT, managed service.
Say that one more time.
Managed service, IT.
Okay, IT, great. So I'm an IT person. Guess what? I've serviced most of the people in Tucson with my IT services. all of a sudden the next thing you're going to say now has gained power. Does that make sense? And so our ability to make sure we implement these things into exactly what we're saying.